Greetings good people, and a very warm welcome to you all. Now this is the weirdest looking dive watch I've ever had on my bench, with this weird 1950s microphone looking contraption on the side. And good lord, it looks like the diver tried to dive off a tall jagged cliff but accidentally tripped on the way down. I'm only kidding. This watch was found inside the belly of a shark. You dare me to try and fix this glass? Oh, actually there's a chip here. Okay, so before I start doing anything, it would be prudent to see if a new battery would fire this thing up, and hopefully that dead old battery hasn't been in there too long, because the cheap ones can leak and the battery acid can cause absolute havoc with the circuit board. I also just noticed that the whole battery seat was bouncing up and down as my tweezer was playing with it, and you'll see why in a sec. Boo. So when there's an old battery in there, sometimes a little film can form on these contacts. So we'll give them a little rub. This might work, but don't hold your breath. I don't want you suffocating on me. Alright, let's try that again. So we just tuck that underneath there. And slide the clip underneath, give it a little tighten. Oh yeah, there's something moving underneath all that. In order to get access to this setting lever, I might have to remove this again. Can we see it now? Oh yeah, there it is. Just there. So you can see here how things build up on these battery connectors like a little film. So then obviously when you put the battery on, if there's a barrier between this and the battery, then there's no connection. So I think that's what's resolved this one for now. And there you can see how that pressure gauge or depth gauge, how it's attached. So here you can see why the battery seat is bouncing. The plastic screw hole has cracked. So I'll try and melt some plastic to see if I can fix that issue. But first, I need to get this whole movement out, and I was already struggling. I have never worked on one of these before, so I have to be patient and go slow and figure things out as I go along, instead of using brute force and then crying later because I broke something. I can't imagine trying to find parts for this. And the lesson is, never force anything, because that's when damage and stuff occurs. When you force the issue. So it's still not coming out, so I need to investigate a little further. I can see a screw holding this plastic bit in, which might just come off, so I might just do that first, which was that battery clip screw. So this plastic bit should just come off now. Come on, plastic bit. I guess not. Nope. So let me get my eye loop on and investigate. The only thing holding it is this connector here. That was the only thing giving us a little bit of resistance. Come on, Moody. Nope, it ain't happening. I think I got it. You have to just move that connection out of the way and then pry it from there. And there she is. Ooh, that looks kind of nice, that dial, but any little tool on that dial is just gonna scratch it up because it's like a matte, lovely matte dial. Ooh, I'm liking that. And there you can see that connection there. Cute. And now we're gonna dismantle all this because it's analog, so we will have some mechanical parts that need cleaning. Well, I don't need to do it really because the watch is working, but I obviously need to show you guys how it's done. So we will dismantle it and see how it all works. Are you guys scared for me? Because nah, it'll be fine, don't worry. Don't be scared for me. I don't know about taking all these hands off in one go. How many hands are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands. Got 5 hands in a row there. Gotta be careful. If you make the viewers laugh, they have to subscribe. You're doing homework. Let's start off with the easy one. That was easy. Tell your mama joke. Come on. Okay, I managed to get the second's hands off on its own. I don't think it's a good idea doing all 5 in one go, to be honest. If I'm safe. Okay. There we go. We got another easy one off. It came off quite easy. And those 2 came off as well, nice and easy. This big juicy orange one. So I've watched without a chronograph to have so many hands. Absolute madness. They're orange, so don't mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hands altogether. That die looks proper tidy, doesn't it? Come on, you can tell us a joke or what? No. So how do we take off this dial? I'm assuming based on this little foot sticking out here and here, might be just friction fitted on. So let's give it a little wiggle. Very gently, of course. Oh yeah. That's coming off. Being a bit stubborn just here. And there we are. Movement, dial. That must be the washer that was there. Go on. Oh, that's the battery connector. That's falling off from there. Saves me from taking it off. Thank you, citizen. So it's only this screw here for the battery clip, and this screw where that tiny bit of plastic came off from is what's holding in this whole battery seat. The screw doesn't stay on top of this bit to hold it down, so it's always loose. So we need to address that, but let's get it off first. If I push it down and do the screw up, there's nothing there for that screw to hold down, so we might need to extend this plastic by melting it or something. Ooh, that's long. Now this battery seat should come off. I think we have this clip here. This thing was dying to come off a second ago, now it doesn't want to come out. There it is. There it is. Whoa, that looks crazy. And we'll remove some of these loose bits. I think that's what connects to the little speaker. You can see loads of screws here, but I think only this screw and that one is holding in this whole board. So let's undo those 2, being careful not to slip onto that coil. All of these screws are long. Ooh, that one's short. Let's see if this comes off now. Oh yeah, that was painless, isn't it? We've got 1, 2, 3 coils, so I think these 2 are the same. We'll die hands. We'll just remove them first, I think. We've got one out. There's the second one. And we'll get the main train coil out as well. We'll minimize our risk of damaging them by removing them ASAP. Now we can remove these two smaller trains here. They both have a couple of screws. So now that I'm up and running, things seem a lot more familiar now. There are two separate sub-trains for the dive functions and a central train for the timekeeping. The evidence suggests that this watch was used by a real diver, and as well as the Australian Navy, its popularity even extended to the British Special Boat Service, the Danish frogmen, and even retired US Navy SEALs. So it could have belonged to one of them and seen some real action. And that's how small that step rotor is.
Tiny.
Are you not going to tell us a joke then?
No. You said someone earlier.
Forget it. You don't get to talk. You didn't tell us a joke.
Your mama is so fat. When she did a bungee jump, she went straight to hell.
Hey, don't talk about my mum like that. Let me talk about your mum. Pivot for the small sub hand, and that's it. We just have our main train there, and that's got two screws as well. Since you've gone to this new school, you seem to know a lot less.
Of what?
I thought when people go to school they're supposed to know more. Ooh, there's some funny stuff going on with this. Let's have a closer look. This must be like a stop lever or something. So let's remove that. Whoa, there we go. How long is that? Ooh, got some plastic. Plastic. I think the rest is sitting underneath this second plate. And we've got all the pushers and everything as well. And we can remove this little cover here. Oh, and there's more. Oh, it looks like spaghetti, doesn't it? Let's remove this step rotor. Magnetic little bugger. That looks like the cannon pinion sitting on this side. Let's remove this setting lever spring first, then there's a setting wheel there, I think. That's bloody tiny. Looks like some sort of switch. The yoke and the setting lever. And now this plate can come off. It's got those few clips on the sides. Here, clip. There's another one. There were a few clips. Oh yeah, there's one here. One here. Oh, my stem's falling out as well. Oh, clutch. Here's the cannon pinion. Oh, ha, ha, ha. That's the longest cannon pinion I've ever seen. And look at all these wonderful stuff. This is all your operating levers and stuff. Just make sure there's more parts on this. Look, see, really missed that. And then that part is finished, I think. Let's put this back on. That is one long single part, isn't it? Looks like a panther with long arms. A lot of gunk all over this thing. That's about it, I think. Oh, there's some of the pusher. That's it. Now, I don't know if I should have done the dial side up first, but everything seemed to come off reasonably easily. I haven't done this before, so just discussing my own approach to this with myself. We have 3 screws holding in this date cover guard. I can beatbox, you know. Can you hear me? Right, let's see what's underneath this. Got a little jumper spring here which you can remove, and then date disc should come off like so. And we have the power wheel and all the other diving wheels. One. Just like an onion. Two. And then hopefully this layer should also come off now, because we have another 2 layers here. See? This metal layer and this plastic layer. And I want to be gentle with this so I can see underneath. Oh, something's fallen off. I think I've broken something. There's all sorts of stuff falling off now. Oh no. How much stuff there is? Yeah, that's falling off. Oh, I think I broke something. This quick set. I don't know if I've damaged you or not, but we'll have to wait and see. It was attached to this, I think. Oh, there it is. The little plastic part. Another little plastic part. Well, that's it. That's all of it. How many plates we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you got all these other cover plates and stuff. Get in there. And while all that's happening, let's have a look at this depth sensor and sort out that case. Got a couple of screws here and then a couple more just there. So let's remove these screws because they look like they want to be removed. I'm just wondering how this thing is bloody waterproof, and there's like all these holes in the front. Must be an O-ring somewhere, but I can't see it through here. Some gold colored screws. Now will that come off, or probably need to take off these two as well. So let's do that. Oh, that'll be stiff. Delicious. Oh, something dropped out. Okay, so that just dropped out. So now I undid these two screws, and that's what it looks like. Look at the state of that. Nice. Wow. Now I wonder if this will just pop off. Oh, there he is. Oh my word, look at the state of that. Those are like my arteries, bro. Looks like this guy's been diving in someone's ears, or even worse, could have been a vet, a cow vet, if you know what I mean. And his hands had to dive inside the cow, you know what I mean. So we can see this thing's got a couple of little grooves here and here. So I don't know if that's used to twist you a little bit. Oop. No, I'm not messing around with that. I need to do a bit of investigation. But we can enjoy. Oh, there's a bit of foam there, I think. Is that foam? Is that important? Good lord, look at that. So this was some of the evidence I mentioned earlier, suggesting that this watch belonged to a real life diver. There are bits of sand amongst this collection of fibers and dust particles that you'd find floating through the ocean or on its beaches. What is this stuff, man? Let's just be gentle with it. There might be something underneath that which is important. It's kind of satisfying though. I should be able to push these screws out now. They didn't want to come out earlier. Good lord, some nasty stuff. I wonder if this whole section comes off. You can see some little cutouts here. Oh, I think I just scratched some dirt. These little cutouts in the plastic part definitely have to be there for a reason. like to unscrew it, and it's plastic, so shouldn't be fused on even if there is corrosion. So let's try gently see if that pries out first. No, I'm gonna start off with this plastic bit, then we'll get some blunt tweezers. Oh yeah, I can see some movement there, look. So that just kept spinning, and as you can see, all it does is twist the connecting strip as well along with it. Okay, so I wasn't sure how to remove that sensor just yet, so I've decided to remove the crystal and see where that leads me. There is also an inner chapter ring which I need to be mindful of when pushing out this glass, so I have to find a smaller than usual die. I've only gone and made it worse. So that's probably the reason why the glass didn't want to come out. Just fused in there with years of dirt and grime. And then we've got that little inner chapter ring here. So I didn't want to stick it in the wash to loosen everything up because of obviously that sensor and this ring. And I can't remove that without removing the gasket. And at some point I probably need to try and remove this bezel. So I think I might have to push this from the inside. And you can see there's like some soldering, and so I don't want to damage anything. So here goes nothing. Oh yeah, just popped out. Awesome. That was easy actually. Look at that cute little item. We've got a little O-ring. Obviously that's what keeps it all waterproof. Sweet. There's hardly any gap for a tool, but we'll give it a try. Just gonna put this little NATO. I've got something to hold on to. You can yank it. Oh yeah. Good Lord, look at all that. Beneath all that, we have a little spring. Goes all the way around. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Oh, there it is. And then we have the retaining spring inside here, which you can also remove and give it a good clean. Now we can remove. Thank you, Mr. NATO, for your help. Now we can remove this inner bezel somehow. Get that gasket out first. We still can't get this in the wash because of this. You'll just peel everything away. So let's just manually clean all this delicious arm cheese and see if we can get access to that gasket. You can see how the glass is still fused to that gasket as if some sort of adhesive was used, but I don't think that's the case. I just think it's been on for so long. I'm just going to try and separate this gently like so without damaging the gasket or the case. And once I've gone round once and separated it from the dirt that's holding it all together, that should come off. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've been round once. Well, hey, and now that should just lift out. Still not, there's our inner bezel. Quite thick, isn't it? And that's our gasket. Cool. What's more disgusting, this on my fingers. And that can now go in the wash, unless you want me to clean it really slowly so you can enjoy yourselves. I'll give it a little clean for the arm cheese fetish guys out there. Alright, I can go in the wash now. So we'll wash these parts. With this, I'm not going to wash this because it's got the Bezel speaker, and usually the solutions damage all that, so we'll keep that out of the wash, and you can get these disgusting bits in there. That looks much better, doesn't it? So do my fingers. Now we can remove all this. Give our gasket a good clean on the springs. That's come out nice as well. All this black paint is missing, so we'll sort that out. And you can see how this gold section has been welded onto this stainless steel part here. So you could remove all that if you thought you were hard enough, and then polish these two parts separately. But unfortunately, I'm not that hard because I don't have a laser welder, so we'll just polish these top surface and these sides, and that should be good. I mean, we can see all these dots, but that is not supposed to be there. It's going to be a bit tough to get out. These are just held in with some C-clips. Nice. Okay, so I was hoping to remove all these pusher tubes so that I can have an unobstructed case to work on, but they weren't budging. Right, these tubes are not coming out. I've even tried to heat it up, and I'm afraid I'm gonna probably end up damaging them if I force it, and I can't get any replacements. So we'll just remove the pushers and we'll have to leave the tubes in for now. And I think I can get some tape around the edges just to protect them when I finish this side. You see the shine around that tube, which looks like some sort of really heavy duty adhesive, which I did try to burn off, but still wasn't budging. Sometimes you just know when you're gonna win a fight, but with this one, it's a lose-lose for me, to be honest, because I'll end up damaging these tubes and not being able to replace them. So chicken. Now, I have been in many situations where I've had to destroy the tubes just to get them out, but I was okay with it because I could order replacements. But in this situation, I knew I couldn't get any replacements, so instead of stressing over it, I decided to leave them alone, but change my whole strategy for the case. When restoring cases and bracelets, I do like to get as close to the original factory finish as possible, but when it's not possible, then have some fun with the finishes, and the world of horology isn't going to end as a result. I don't want to accidentally touch the gold parts while I'm polishing, and although this is really battered, there's a bit of a sort of sandblasted finish on some of the text, so I'll try and protect that as well rather than making it all shiny. Can't take this bit on the lapping machine because you can see it's not flat, it's kind of curved. Right, so how do I approach this? I think I'll just start on the sides because they look easy and take it from there. So if I do accidentally touch the gold part, it should give us a little protection. Yeah, everything else has come up nice, but that big dimple there, so that's pretty deep. I don't think I want to really try and get that out, otherwise I'll end up losing a lot of metal. I'll try and see if it will come out. No, if I try to take that out, that's just gonna imbalance everything. So best to just leave that, I think, for now. So there seems to be some sort of line here. I don't know if it's a factory line or not, but if it is factory, then it doesn't look very serious. It's not a very defined line. You see what I mean here? It just seems like it's there, but it's not. You can see how nice and polished that's come out. So I thought I'd do my own little finish here based on the restrictions of those tubes. It'd be easy for me to apply a circular grain on this bezel, but I'll do mirrored, brushed. I could just mirror all that on the side instead of stressing myself out with these weird lines. I'll just do a nice mirrored finish. So the reason why I have decided to go with the mirrored polish on the sides is because the soft mop will easily get in and around those areas around the pushers and the sensor cage, but a rigid brushing wheel won't. And that tube is obviously not giving us any issues. Just cleaning up these lugs first, then we'll brush all this. I think I buggered that up. I had to abandon it after one small pass because it was level with this. That was not a good idea. As for this, and it looks quite good, but because we want this bit to be mirrored, I'm going to do mirrored, brushed, mirrored, rather than brushing this. If I brush this, then I'd have to leave this mirrored to give a contrast, and then back to brushing this. The whole idea was not to brush these sides, so that we could get around having to brush these hard to get areas here. So it's alright, nice modern look. I'll now go and brush these top bits and see how that looks, and then we'll fill all these. That looks nice, doesn't it? With the bit of gold. And then you've got this. You can see shiny on the sides. And then it goes into a brushed finish at the top. There's the case back. Not my finest hour, but I decided to stop. There's the little 1950s radio jukebox. When we put these two together, looks alright, doesn't it? What do you reckon, our kid? Hello? Bit of alright, isn't it? Oh yeah. Look at your disgusting fingers. Have you been biting your nails again? Yeah, cutting. Right, so I've shown you this previously, and instead of using paints and enamels, I find this to be a really durable way to repair lost paint on bezels. It's a 2-part modeling epoxy and it's fairly cheap. Just mix equal parts and work it in. Get over here! You can then easily wipe away the mess before it sets. So, looks a bit grey, but when it dries, it will look like black paint, but much more durable. Probably mixed a bit too much, but just get it all in, press it all in, don't panic because we'll wipe it all off in a second. We can tidy up a bit. Let's get something wet. I'm just using some alcohol wipes. We're just gently wiping the flat surface, and anything that's hiding inside those carved numbers and dots will be safe. I need to go over this bit more carefully, and then the few that are missing, we can go over those again. The putty does have some, gives you a bit of time before it becomes really hard. And make sure you remove all this other stuff that I've accidentally managed to get in there. So that was quite easy, wasn't it? Just need to go over it, a few little spots. And just wipe. Look at that. Easy as that. Now this bit, so just need to see that dot. It's not working out, so I have to be a bit more precise, I think, with this. No. Seems to keep on come out. Once it's all dry, I'll give it a little final buff. Of course, a few minor scratches when I apply this. Oh, it's alright, isn't it? Still a bit sticky, and once it's all together, I think that will look alright. That's what Jem's been doing with my Radico. I've let this dry overnight. I'm not even going to use the red lacquer again. I'm just going to give it a quick buff just to remove some of those swirls that we created during application, and then we'll put it in the ultrasonic and see how well it withstands all that. So that looks pretty good. All the swirls are gone and all our black infill is still there. Sweet. We'll see what happens once we've cleaned it in the ultrasonic to see if it peels off, but I'm pretty sure it won't. It's nice and hot now, and we'll see if that survives. Now when I wash bezels with paint on it, I usually keep the temperature at around 40 degrees. Any higher than that is usually what would peel away the old paint. You could wash it without heating up your ultrasonic, but hot water does help clean things better. See how hard I am with this? You can see everything's intact so far. Sweet! Look how disgusting these things are. Let's give them a little wash. Okay, so now it's time to assemble the case, and I grease up all the O-rings with some formalin, or you can use some sort of silicone grease. Tiny! Now I wasn't quite sure how to clean this sensor, as I couldn't determine what was dirt and what was part of the sensor, because there does seem to be some squidgy membrane sitting at the base, and you can see all that sand. So I spent some time gently cleaning it with some Radico. So you see this squidgy soft membrane. I've cleaned it as much as I can, but I don't want to damage it or puncture it. So since it does come into contact with water, I'll just give it a little clean. Once the sensor is clean, I apply some grease on the O-ring and align the connecting ribbon in the correct position, and then gently seat the sensor with my hand. I then carefully push it in fully with a little tool which only touches the plastic rim and not the membrane. Just straighten it out so the cable is straight. Can't remember if it's supposed to be at the bottom or the top, but can always swivel it around. So you see my little contrast there, mirrored, and I've mirrored this bottom part of the sensor and then brushed the top part to go with that. Cute, yeah? I know you love it, just admit it, come on. Right, before we can assemble this thing, first I need to fix that broken plastic battery seat. And no laughing at my bush fix here, I'm really sensitive, you know. So it's simple really, and I'm sure we've all melted a bit of plastic to repair it or make holes in it at some point in our lives. So that's basically what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, that'll do it. So I'm using my little portable soldering iron and some plastic from my cheap portable 3D printing gun to build some material around that existing screw hole. Just let that cool down, then I'll show you my artwork. So there it is. Now I can try and file that down and drill a little hole in it, and we'll also smoothen that area out as well. Or maybe I'll try and melt it a little bit more so that this bit attaches itself to this. Let's try that. I'm sure there are more graceful ways of doing this, but I just went for a more hope for the best approach and then tried to tidy up after myself. Using a drill to make the hole may have been unnecessary. Bloody came off. Because on my first trial attempt, it all fell apart. So on the second attempt, I took it more seriously with the weld. That looks much stronger now. First one I just messed around with the camera, I suppose. And on the second attempt, I also used a small heated pin to start the hole. Refine it once we know exactly where that screw is supposed to be. Now it's time to clean all those plastic parts which didn't make it with the big boys into the cleaning machine. I use a bit of warm water with some washing up liquid, and then to just make sure I have no washing up liquid residue left on the parts, I rinse them in some clean water. We also have 3-step rotors which are magnetic, so I wash these separately with some LNR rinse aid. Washing them like this helps avoid the magnetic parts picking up all sorts of microscopic metallic bits that may be lurking in the cleaning solutions. So after a little soak and a little shake, I use a combination of pithwood and Rodico to get them nice and clean. The circuit board looks fine, so I just tidy that up and we are now ready to assemble.
Was that water or something else?
Yeah, the bit of liquid. NVIDIA GeForce graphics. So I've got all my parts washed up. Out of all these plates, we have this one that's metal, so let's assume that's a good place to start. And I think I'll start with the stator. This one in, and we're off. The third one goes in here.
Oh yeah.
What does it look like?
Sid the slot.
You look like a bit like Sid. Just make sure Sid's claws are engaged in that hole, like so, and the same with this one. And then we've got the other switch spring. Doesn't look as crazy as Sid. See, we've got 2 posts here and here. That's it. It's in there. Now let's get the coils in. There's nothing to guide these coils, so just have to be a bit careful and just align this part. And this is the one for the train, and this one does have a little guide on there. It's best to remove this part now from the movement holder, because some of these edges will just get stuck on top here. So we have the stem position here and stem position here as well, and that goes like that. Now we're back in the movement holder. Get this stem in. Look how long that stem is. Plastic, gonna be meshing with some metal.
So here you'll notice how most of the keyless works sit on the same side as the train rather than on the dial side. So after installing the clutch and the intermediate deck corrector wheel, I noticed that our cannon pinion is one of those with a driving wheel, similar to the ones you find on most ETA movements. So we need to blue goo this lanky little fella, slap it on and work it in between the pinion and driving wheel, and then tidy up with some Radico. For the rest of the movement, I'll be using a combination of HP 1300, some 9010 and some thin quartz oil.
Setting wheel is gonna go here. Then we've got this minute wheel and pinion.
Now if you are following along, make sure this wheel has the pinion on top.
And we'll get some keyless works in. That's the setting lever. And this is the yoke. Just there. Got a little woolly mammoth. Boom, boom, boom. Plop. Got all our points engaging. Yoke engaging just here on the setting lever. Let's get the little step rotor in. Now we'll get this little plastic bridge in. And we've got this plastic fifth wheel. We'll just stick that here next to the step rotor. And that is metal. And then we have a fourth wheel which also has a little pinion just here, and we'll use a bit of 9010 on this, and then that can go through here. There you go, little fella. And this is the stop lever, and we'll just plonk that onto here. Now we can get the train bridge on. Just get a bit of 9010 on these two pivots for the fourth wheel and the third wheel, I think. So we'll start off with this sub-assembly here. We've got another one here, so they're very similar, but this depth wheel here has an extended pivot, and we know our little sub dial goes here, so don't mix them up. The other one, you can see, doesn't have that extended pivot. So we can start off with the little step rotor. Doesn't look all there without the macro shots, does it? That's our little sub-assembly.
So after advising everyone not to mix up the depth wheels on the two sub-trains, it's exactly what I did. So if you're following along, don't mix them up as I did. It will be more clearer towards the end when I realize nothing works. Not only do I make mistakes in fixing watches, I also make mistakes in life. So I want to apologize to some of you if I seemed a little insensitive in my recent post regarding my old merch partner. So let me quickly address that. I don't handle the merch store. We creators sign up with third-party companies who handle all the materials, printing, shipping, returns and complaints. We only upload the designs and receive a small cut after all the costs of the merch partner and their own profits. So I have to pay for my own samples, including shipping, and my last order took 6 months. I also had one subscriber email me saying that they had been waiting for a couple of months. So I decided to change the supplier and go with someone more reliable. I tried to make light of the situation in a recent community post, which some of you thought was a bit insensitive. So sometimes I learn from you guys how to be a better person.
Now we can get our circuit on. AMD Ryzen Threadripper. We have a long and a short screw. Long one goes here and the short one goes here.
Oh, and did I tell you guys to check out the new merch store? I didn't. There's a 24-hour sale on. Check it out.
And then we've got a spring for the alarm or speaker, and that should just go here. Sticks out a bit, doesn't it? You can see the way that sticks out, and we can also get this battery connector in. Now we can see if our dodgy plastic fabrication will hold. Don't be laughing at my plastic fabrication skills, you know. And with that screw, you can see how it bounces up and down, even with the clip on. Now let's see if our fantastic long screw will fit. And this goes all the way to the coil, so it's not a joke. It's not pretty, but you can see it's not bouncing around like before. Winner chicken dinner, that one. Now we can work on the dial side, and this is where everything kind of just dropped out, didn't it? So we'll figure it out. But before we do anything, so you've got a few jewels here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the stator, so we'll use the fine quartz oil on that. That's the stator. The stator for the main train, don't oil. And then this one 9010. 9010 here as well. We'll also get some HP 1300 on some of these posts. So let's get that outer wheel on. Kill this one. And now the intermediate date wheel, which is this little white one here. And this is the maximum depth wheel, and that goes here. And then the intermediate depth wheel, again with the pinion facing up, and that will go here. And then the date corrector wheel, which is this one, plastic one, and that goes here. You can see the little nib sticking out, and that's where the finger will sit, and then push it down. And then we've got this date driving wheel. Make sure the finger is on top, and I think that goes here. Now we can put this plate on, and then these have to sort of clip on. Got clips. And there you go. Let's give it a little test. Nothing's happening yet. Oh, I can see the date corrector wheel moving. So we need to just attach the little arm to that. There's the most sophisticated of designs for quickset. And I'll just line that up with that hole. And you can see how that sort of operates. It'll work when I've got the rest on. I think I put it on the wrong way. Give the date disc a little clean. Plonk. And then the jumper should fit onto this post here, and we can put a little bit of HP 1300 on the jumper. This is the maximum depth wheel and the depth wheel. And now we can get the dial guard on, and we've got a few pivots that need to line up. There you go, that's in, and we have 3 screws that we can just plonk on. We can at least test the date out. That flicked over, and then in the quick set mode, there you go, it's working. Now I just need to get the dial on and stick all those hands on. This matte dial is just beautiful condition, so just give the back a little wipe, get rid of any residue or anything. I can stick it back on.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Actually, the crown wasn't at 3, was it? It was somewhere around here. That's why it's not going on. That should be perfect. Right, I think I made a bit of a mess here. The crown is supposed to be here, and then there should be an extended pivot here so that it sticks out of a sub dial. But I think I mixed up the sub depth wheel, so I'm gonna have to undo all of that, and the 2 separate trains with these 2 separate coils. I'll have to swap out the wheels, because instead you can see the extended pivot is on this side here, and it should be here, and that one should be over there. So boo. Right, so I've got the battery guard off again on the circuit board, and now all I have to do is swap the wheel from here onto here. They are similar wheels, that's why I probably got a little bit confused. And then just swap them around. So here we are. This is the one with the extended pivot, I think, and that needs to be over here. Very similar wheels, but I cocked up. What a rubbish watchmaker. So we'll just plonk that into there now. Right, we're back. Now you can see the extended pivot. Okay, let's get that dial back on. Let's not forget our shield plate. And we'll have a little washer as well, remember? So let's get that calendar back to 12 o'clock so we know when it's midnight. Here we go, 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 here we go.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Boom. That's midnight. And the hands have to go in a certain order, I think. To install the hands, we put the battery on and perform a reset, I think, before we install the hands. Then we can tighten that screw. And we'll pull the crown out. And we're going to press all 3 buttons. And I don't know if that's done anything because I've got nothing to give me an indication. Just give the hands a little wipe. These hands look yellow on my screen for some reason, but they're not. They're like this bright signal orange. Now I'll put the sub depth hand on. Line it up to 12 and then push it on and make sure everything's level. And then we have our hour, minute and second hands, and there's a lot of brass there, so I'll give that a little polish. And we've just got the one more left, the seconds hand. Easy now. Boom, come on. Oh, something happened. Alright, let's case it up and we'll see what happens with the seconds hand. So the second hand, I think, should have fired up immediately, but nothing happened. But I thought maybe I needed to do the reset again, so I carried on, but in fact...
It was at this moment that he knew. He up.
Then this bit of red chocolate wrapper goes here. Boom! So everything seems to be working, but the normal time mode doesn't seem to be doing anything unless I'm doing something wrong. I don't know, man. I don't know how to operate this bloody thing. So might be something wrong with the train. I'm just gonna have to dismantle the train again, see if I can get that seconds hand to tick. The computer says it's ticking, but I can see it's not. See? There's the culprit. Plastic wheel on with the pinion facing down, but the pinion should be facing up. Rubbish watchmaker. Should be facing up. Looks like we've lost one of the little plastic posts here. Look at that stop lever. How it works. Okay. And now check it out. It's working. Yay! Rubbish watchmaker. Let's set the time. And you can see also hacks. It's another pull out stem. Nice. Oh yeah, so that's how you align the hands, and that one to reverse, and then this one will move as well. There you go, it's aligned and it's good. And check out the lume on this thing, it's just awesome. Whoa. Bit surprised that the hour markers ain't lighting up, but the hands do. So right, I don't know how this blooming thing works. I'll have to read the manual, but I'm gonna stick that into my pressure tester, and hopefully when I pump air into it, some of these hands should move, shouldn't they? So let's try it out. So I know I did say I would get Nekkid and take this thing diving to test out the depth gauge, but my local canal is only a few feet deep, so you know, pressure tester it is. Tighten them up. Okay, so let's start pumping the air in. Let's see if something happens. So I'm at 50 psi. That hand should have moved, but it didn't. Should dump it in, see what happens. Can't see anything moving. So maybe my pressure sensor is not working, or I'm bugging it up. So the alarm and everything works. Right, so I just had a little read of the instructions. And to put it into dive mode, you have to press this button 2 seconds. There you go. So did you see that?
all the hands have aligned, so that means it knows it's in dive position. So now I'm going to stick it back in there again, see if that works. Oh yeah, I can see stuff going crazy now. So it's telling us that maximum depth, we've reached the maximum depth, it's saying. But it is working, so our sensor is working. Now if I let the air out, what happens? If I let it out too quickly, apparently it's going to start making an alarm sound. Nope, so all the pressure's out. Let's try again. So now the alarm is going crazy because I think I came up from my dive too quickly. So it's warning me, I think. My lungs are gonna pop or something. I don't know anything about diving, to be honest.
But I mean, you could put this thing on a rubber or a NATO if you wanted to go snorkeling in your bathtub. But I think it looks awesome like this for now. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as I, Trouble and the accountant love reading them.
Right, let's turn this off.
So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it useful. I really enjoyed working on this piece. These watches are revered amongst the diving community, but maybe not so much by the general public. And maybe that's down to people not really knowing much about them. But I hope this episode will shine a light on this underrated legend. If you like this episode, then please do all that YouTube supportive actions to get your boy Joe found by others who share our interest and passion in watches. Winter is almost upon us, so take care, friends, and take care of each other. Don't go to sleep with a full belly while your neighbor goes to sleep hungry. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. And if the Almighty wills, I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra a bit.